Recently, you may have seen some headlines which are scary if you're on a ketogenic diet. We're going to unpack one of those studies, which has a little good news, but also stick around for the warning. Let's start with this headline. The American College of Cardiology said that low-carb, high-fat, keto-like diets were associated with increased cardiovascular disease. Let's look a little closer into this study. First of all, it's an observational study. It was done in the UK and has yet to be peer-reviewed or actually published. This study came from the analysis of about 300 people that were found in this questionnaire where they were asked what they ate over the last 24 hours. And these 300 people said that they ate less than 25% of their calories from carbohydrates, which by definition to these folks said they were on a ketogenic diet. Let's start with that flaw. When people come to my clinic asking to be on the ketogenic diet or wanting to learn more about that, the first and foremost definition that we have for being on the ketogenic diet is that they're actually in ketosis. Their body has those circulating ketones. If you look at almost every patient that we study, if they had 25% of their calories coming from carbohydrates, none of them would be in ketosis. We would call that the standard diet. The study goes on to look at what was their cholesterol while on the ketogenic diet and how often did they have a cardiovascular event when compared to the people who were not considered on a keto-like diet. Well, the headline made the top of the news because their 300 patients identifying as keto had a higher incidence of cardiovascular events and had higher cholesterol. But I think the key component here is we would never consider them to be on a ketogenic diet. That one of the most powerful and important reasons that I promote people staying in nutritional ketosis is because it's not a guess. You are either in ketosis or you're not. And you cannot get there by a historical look at what you ate over the last 24 hours. The rules for getting a patient to be in nutritional ketosis, well, they vary from person to person, but they also vary within that same person. For example, when I enter people into the ketogenic way of living, I reduce their total carbohydrates to 20. And indeed, most people switch into a ketogenic state. But over time, their body actually can adapt to even 20 total carbohydrates a day. And they are no longer in nutritional ketosis with 20 total carbohydrates per day. It's because of that variability that we are so adamant that you must be looking at your ketones in order to say, are you on the ketogenic diet or are you not on the ketogenic diet? And this historical recollection of what they ate over the last 24 hours and then extrapolating what they ate over a year, to me is hogwash. You cannot predict what somebody's been eating for a year by one questionnaire a year. This study looked at participants for an average of 11.8 years, even though they were only using a history. But they also followed what is one of the risk factors for a heart attack, which happened to be ApoB and your LDL-C cholesterol. Again, those are just markers of the risk. They're not actually the problem that we're worried about, which is a cardiovascular event. The secondary endpoints for this study was a cardiovascular event. And it turned out that the people that were on this keto-like diet had a higher risk for the cardiovascular event. If you're looking for one of the best ways to reduce inflammation, cut the weight, and improve your health, a nutritional state of ketosis is a very good idea. But that means you actually need to be measuring your ketones and not claiming you're in a ketogenic state because you've lowered your carbs a little bit. So the ultimate warning here is that when patients play around and they're a little bit keto, the danger is they really do increase the amount of circulating fat without lowering that inflammatory process that is really important for the improvement in their health. When trying to predict which patients are at risk for the heart attacks, we look at several risk factors, and this study did a good job of at least identifying ApoB as one of those risk factors. However, if you're really interested in how to prevent a heart attack, there are some specific things that I recommend. and I'll teach you in this next video.